Hello dear students, today we are going to study about the new chapter, that is winds, storm and cyclones. So these words you have heard before this, but you don't know in details about these wordings and things, is it? So in the today's session we will see some of the points of winds related to the wind. Okay, and first of all we will see what are the topics we are going to be covered in this topic, that is wind, air pressure, thunderstorm, cyclone, tornado and safety measures. So what is mean by the wind? Yes guys, what do you mean by the wind? It is nothing but we normally say that it is a moving air. Is it? So is it actually a moving of air? Yes. Along with that, it is a natural motion of air. Due to that, due to the current in a particular direction is called as a wind. Current means what? You will see in the next slide. Okay. Next slide. But here what happens, due to the current in a particular direction, it is called as the wind. So wind is a natural motion due to the current in a particular direction. So the current is present in a particular direction in which ways only the air can blow or the wind can blow, is it? So you will understand after some of the few examples, like suppose if you have leave your hair freely, then what happens if there will be a presence of wind or the air in major amount, then your hair will be get spread all over, is it? And you will feel as a irritating. Suppose in the same thing, instead of a wind, if you sat under the fan and you have switched on fan, is it? Then what happens if you freely leave your hairs, then what happens, it will also move from one direction to another direction. That is nothing but due to the wind only. So next is, that is one more example, flag, our national flag. Same, if the wind will be there on that direction only, the flag can fly. Next is pages of books. Suppose you have a notebook and kept on the table, okay, and you have switched on the fan, then what happens, the pages will be moved from one direction to another direction, is it? And if you, in the same kind, if you have switched off the fan, then what happens, the pages will be never move, it will be stable as it is it? So this is nothing but what is that, this is the flow of air and wind. So it is nothing but a flow of air. So guys, one more example I can give, like a curtains, windows curtain, that also can move when you switch on the fan in high speed, is it? So flying by the wind, and that is nothing but a that may be by the wind and that may be by the fan, okay, naturally, or you can say by human activities, because fan, all electric things are made from the human kind only. So next is, see, so due to why the air moves and we, it is called as a wind. See guys, it is what happening, wind having some kind of energy, okay, so wind having some kind of energy, because of that only the one object can move from one place to another place. Now one more example, you have a carton box, okay, so what happened there, that box is empty, okay, that box is empty, and you are kept like that only, okay, just like that, and you are observing it. If the wind is high speed, then what happening, that box can move, is it? That box can move in which direction, where the air is coming, is it? That box can move easily where from the wind is coming, in which direction. So that is nothing but the wind is having some kind of energy, because of that only that particular box is moving, is it? In case of here also, if you leave it freely, then what happen, it can also move from here and there, because of what, wind is having some power, some energy. Because of that, it can push our hair, or it can push that empty box. Is it? Next, air exerts a pressure. So air pressure is what? The air around us exerts a pressure. Whichever the type of air present surrounding us, that having a exerting means pushing, that can push a pressure. So just I have given the example how it is going to be pushed, because of only the air which is present surrounding us, and it is having some energy. Is it? Due to that, a pressure is going to be created on that box on our hair, if it will be freely left. Or so what happened, that can be moved, that can be pushed away, because of only the air is going to be exert a pressure. So in that pressure, whenever the exertion takes place, then who is responsible for that? Air. Okay, but inside the air, we know that it is a composition of all gases, droplets, water droplets, dust, other particles. Is it? So that is nothing but they are creating a pressure to particular objects to move from one direction to another direction. So that is a air exerts a pressure. Now, sometimes you feel while running from a road, okay, and wind is with high speed, then what happens? You feel that someone is pushing you, that wind is pushing you to run forward. Is it? So these are some kinds of examples of wind blowing or the air exerts a pressure. So some examples are given here, like a kite, flying kite, and the straw which is present in the juice. Okay, so in this case what happens? See, the kite, only the wind or the air can present, then only it can blow or it can fly. Isn't? If no air or the no air pressure or no wind will be there, then it cannot fly. Is it? So why it is fly? Due to the air is going to be create a pressure to that kite, then only it is blowing, then only it is can flying in the air or the wind, because the wind is in a particular direction, in that direction only that kite will also fly. Next, see guys, drinking a juice by the straw, then what happens? How does a liquid movement done while sipping or drinking a juice? Then see guys, there also some air pressure will be there surrounding that straw. Okay, so that creates a pressure to get upside through that straw a particular juice. Okay, that is also due to the creating a pressure on that straw. And while we sipping that juice, then what happens? As we sip by our mouth, that with high speed or low speed, in whichever speed you are sipping it, that can become directly through that straw. That is also due to the air exerts a pressures. Okay, so one more example along with this. Suppose a glass you having, and on that glass you having a cardboard, and you have kept a hand on that glass with the cardboard, then what happening? That cardboard cannot move from here and there. Okay, that will be stable. If you remove your hand, then what happens? Due to the wind or due to the fan pressure or whatever that will be get fall down, because your hand has it removed, and due to the pressure of the air, that will has fallen down. So this kind of things happens due to the wind air pressures. Okay, so now air pressure is what happens when increased wind speed is accomplished by the decreased air pressure. So there is one kind of the sentence is that if the increased wind speed will be there, there will be the air pressure will be less. Okay, if the wind speed will increase, then air pressure will be decrease. So air is nothing but a consisting a particles. So that particles moving from here and there, that's why the air pressure get exhausts. Now, so we must know that air moves always from high pressure to the low pressure. Okay, so air always moves from high pressure to the low pressure. As we have seen the example of a sipping juice through the straw. Is it? If you sip it very speedily, then what happens? That it can come with high pressure. is it? So this is some kind of examples how it takes place. So next is how the generation of wind current takes place. So actually we are seeing what is the current here. Okay, the generation of wind current, how it takes place. So see guys, the different parts of the earth gets a different amount of sunlight, is it? In some previous chapters we have learned that as the earth is having a position and the parts, okay, so it is having a equator and the plane poles, is it? How that way I show you here. Suppose this is the earth, okay, and on that day I told you this is a equator, okay, and these are the poles 1 and 2, south and north, okay. So what happens here, each of the having a different part, that may we normally say that the directions like east, west, south, north, okay. So each part getting a different kind of the sunlight, as we know that suppose the sunlight is there, we know that it will be get a sunlight at more at the central part as compared to the other parts, okay. So that's why its sentence is that the different parts of the earth gets a different amount of sunlight. So now here concept is that considerable force moving generally horizontally from areas to high pressure to areas of low pressure. So here also the wind current is nothing but it is a considerable force guys. Force is nothing but you are something going to be force on it, okay. So wind is going to be considerable a force moving generally horizontally. This is nothing but a equator is nothing but a horizontal way, okay, and from areas of high pressure to low pressure. So wind current always generates from high pressure to the low pressure, or from high pressure to areas to the low pressure of area, okay. Next, wind currents are generated due to uneven heating of equator. See guys, as I have told you, the equator is this one, these are the poles, okay, sunlight is there. As the earth rotates, then what happens guys, as the earth rotates, we know that we does not get a same amount, sorry, we do not get a same amount of sunlight in whole day, is it? In the morning we feel somewhat high, somewhat in the afternoon again we will feel more heat, is it? So that is nothing but uneven heating, is it? Continuously heating will be not there, that is the uneven heating, okay. So next is wind currents are generated due to uneven heating of equator and the poles. So these poles and the equator are getting not the same kind or the same amount of energy or the heat, is it? They are getting a different one. So here that is the concept that the wind current is nothing but that is generated due to the heating of the our land or the oceans, whichever the water sources and the land sources are present on the earth, those are unevenly heated, so that is going to be generated as the wind current. So as we have studied about the what can we say, that land breeze and the sea breeze, is it? The same concept is there. We have got to know that in the daytime the what heats more, the land will be get cooled down at the daytime, and the sea coastal region or the sea will be heat up more. In the night time the land will be heat up more and the sea region will be, or the sea portion will be cool more, is it? So that is the actual concept here also. Due to the wind current it happens due to the uneven heating, okay. So this was about the today's session. For any doubts and difficulties you can ask me. So during the winter and the monsoon what happens guys, see. So just 2 points I just give you. See, the sea, the land gains loses heat much faster than water, just as I have told you, due to the sea breeze and the wind breeze, or sea breeze and the land breeze. What happens, land gains and loses heat much faster, we have studied that. And during the summer winds move from cooler and sea towards the land, which is a hotter. So same thing, just how I explained about the sea breezes. So this wind carry moisture and causes a monsoon. How the monsoon creates? By the when the wind carries the moisture in them, the water droplets, okay, and that causes the monsoon. So during winter what happens? This direction of wind flow is reversed and it moves from land towards the ocean. So in the winter what happens? The direction of a wind flow is reversed and it moves from land towards the ocean. Same as the sea breeze we have learned, is it? So same concept has shown here in the winter also, same thing happens. So in the next session we will study about remaining topics. Thank you.